This property tax is making economists of us all. Hello, my name is Brian Keegan. I'm the Tax Director with Chartered Accountants Ireland. And over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about this new local property tax, about the returns which many of us are receiving perhaps from revenue for the very first time, and about what we need to do in handling those returns, because one thing is for sure, we can't ignore them. The really important aspect of local property tax is that it's a self-assessment tax. What that means is that it's up to you and I, the taxpayers, to actually ensure that the tax gets paid and gets paid correctly. So even if you haven't received a return or information from Revenue, it's still up to you to get in touch with Revenue if you own a property and might be liable for the tax. By the same token, if you have received a return but some of the information on that return is incorrect, for example, if you're not perhaps registered as the owner, you need to let Revenue know about that as well. If you're not comfortable dealing directly with Revenue, you can always ask a family member perhaps or someone else to actually make the return for you and indeed facilitate the payment. Revenue won't mind as long as they get their money. None of us like paying tax very much, so it's a good idea to establish within the household which of you is going to be accountable for the local property tax. Bear in mind that Revenue have extensive powers to determine who should actually pay the tax to them, even if that person is living abroad. Some have observed that a local property tax actually impinges on their constitutional or civil rights. That may be the case, but history has shown that challenges to taxation based on constitutional or civil rights grounds tend not to be terribly successful. It's also been pointed out that the self-employed are treated quite differently to the PAYE taxpayers when it comes to local property tax, and that's because local property tax is very much tied in to the way in which self-employed income tax is collected. That's true, but let's bear in mind that for most of us PAYE workers, the local property tax charge is going to be deducted directly from our after-tax salary. It might also be deducted as well from any government payments or subsidies we receive. So, it may be an unfair tax. Its only saving grace is it's unfair to everybody. Not only is there interaction with income tax, but there's also an interaction between the local property tax and the household charge and the non-principal private residence charge. If you didn't pay your household charge in 2012, please consider doing so now, because it's going to be converted into an additional local property tax liability and Revenue will pursue you for it. Your non-principal private residence charge still has to be paid for 2013, even though you're also paying local property tax, but the non-principal private residence charge is being abolished in 2014. Lastly, if you've got more than one property, Revenue will insist that you deal with them using their preferred method, which is online, using the Revenue Online Service, or ROS. If you have any further questions on any of these matters, talk to a chartered accountant.